Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I address you today with a heavy heart to share a tragic story that underscores the grave reality we all face on a daily basis. A 21-year-old man who attended school with my son witnessed a man being shot. Driven by compassion and humanity, he and his brother, a soldier, rushed the injured man to the hospital. The very individuals who committed the initial shooting followed them and opened fire, resulting in the senseless killing of this young man, along with a few others. This brave young man, who had his entire life ahead of him, is now gone. His father, a soldier who served alongside me for 15 odd years, is left to mourn his irreplaceable loss. To my friend, my deepest condolences. The National Security Minister, after this incident at the hospital, then calls a media conference to spend 1 hour, 13 minutes and 57 seconds not to give one policy, not one anti-crime plan, not one comment as to how he intends to prevent this from happening in the future. But instead, yet again, use it to talk about his Stanley John report that was littered with lies because 4 years later, not one person has been charged for anything relating to firearm from that fake report. Yet he continued, Fitzgerald Hines, in that 1 hour, 13 minutes and 57 seconds to talk about, yet again, legal firearms and firearm dealers who sell legal firearms to law-abiding citizens. And why does this happen? Because this security minister sadly has no knowledge, expertise, and basically not a clue of what to do to solve the problem. So what he does is to use his time to attack anyone who is not his political ally. This cannot assist in securing you, the citizens. Meanwhile, citizens are being killed daily, and there is no policy, no plan, no action being taken to reduce crime or to deal with illegal firearms that account for almost 100% of crimes committed with the use of a firearm. But to those who say that this cannot be fixed, I wish to remind you again that we indeed turned this around on 2 occasions. In 2013 to 2015, when I was Minister of National Security, we saw the highest reduction in serious crime in 31 years. And just 3 years ago, we experienced the highest reduction in violent crime in 17 years, with the lowest number of murders in any one given year in over 15 years. And may I add, that was outside the SOE or curfew, that being May 2020 to May 2021, where we had less than 350 murders. A year later, it went up to over 600. Additionally, previously, just a few years ago, public trust and confidence in the TTPS was 59%, the highest ever experienced. Now it is 8%. It is in this regard that I am again offering my services to the country. To Keith Rowley, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than Gary versus Keith. This is bigger than politics. Our job as servants to this country, as patriots, is to fix this country. I can help bring back the order we had in 2021. And just 3 years after there was order and control, it has now totally collapsed to the point that nowhere in our country is considered safe from brazen criminals. Unfortunately, those in charge now lack the strategic, tactical, and operational expertise to win back this country. And while legislation has its value in effective crime-fighting policy, this situation we find ourselves in cannot be solved by legislation alone, no matter how many lawyers there are as members of parliament or in cabinet. It takes a level of operational response and initiatives that most politicians cannot provide or understand because they are not trained in law enforcement tactics and strategy. So they lack the basic knowledge of, far less the capacity to even execute. This is also why putting focus on political crime talks amongst parliamentarians would have absolutely no major positive impact, as it will merely be one group of civilians talking to another group of civilians who are politicians with no training or expertise to solve the problem, which is why when these politicians meet, they solely come up with legislative amendments or off-the-cuff ideas to reduce crime, which any citizen can do. That is not how it is you reduce crime in a country. So to Keith Rowley, there will be doubters, there will be haters, there will be those in an unholy alliance with criminals, and there will be those whispering lies and misinformation into your ears as they have done before because of that agenda. I ask you to dismiss them all and think for yourself. If I indeed was the biggest mistake, then how come after almost 4 years of searching, fishing expeditions, and witch hunting, not one thing has been found, not one civilian or police officer arrested for what those who lied to you claimed? The truth is, we do not have to be friends, Keith, because this is about saving lives, protecting scared and traumatized citizens throughout the country. This is not a time about ego. But most of all, it is about sending a strong signal to the law-abiding citizens and the criminal elements that we intend to take back our country as we have a nation to defend. This is not about Keith versus Gary. This is about good versus evil. We do not have to be friends, Keith, but we can both be patriots. I am speaking as one political leader to another, as a former commissioner of police and a former minister of national security. I am willing yet again to let you know that I am willing to help because our country desperately needs it. We cannot wait until after another general election. We need to act now. I am willing to help you and show you the strategies and systems that made our country feel safer on 2 occasions within the last decade. And I am not even asking about this thing about Heinz to be removed. Just give me and my team, who did it before on 2 occasions, the chance to give the proper advice to those in authority so we can have a fighting chance to peg back the criminal elements that invade our society. This is not about political rivalry, Keith. It is about saving lives and restoring safety and security to the good and decent law-abiding citizens of this great country. Once again, Keith, the ball is in your court.